a while, and we'll see if I actually remember to end the recording at the end. All right, welcome everybody. So last week we kind of made it up through the top of our body minus our face and hands. So we'll start there and then we'll come down to our feet afterwards. So just for ease of a place to start, the hands. So you can use your massage balls on the hands, but the other thing I really like to use is just like a marker or even a pencil. I like the little bit fatter like highlighter marker, but you could use a pencil, and you can also use like the thumb of one hand. So if I am going to use the balls, I try to use a little bit smaller ball, so the blue, or there's even one that's smaller than that, and you could place the hand on the ball and use your other hand for some mashing. And that's kind of a nice warm up, just like we do with our feet as well. And you could do that with both hands, and you could really, for a lot of us right here along the thumb, you could get into there. Or you can use thumb of one hand to massage the other. Or again, kind of that marker type area for like a rolling stick activity. So just kind of back and forth between your two hands. There's this whole like test, retest little thing you can do where you massage your hand, where you test your neck, like you see how far you can turn to one side, and then you massage the hand and you massage around the ear. And then when you return, you have more range of motion, right? Which is kind of crazy because we're not even really massaging the neck. So if anybody wants to try that, you can. So we're going to massage the hands and the face. Oh, I love it, Lorraine. Your daughter's doing it with you. Welcome, Linda A. Welcome, Mary and Margaret. Welcome, Eileen, Alana. Welcome, Kathy. Oh, your daughter's doing it too, or your granddaughter. Nope, it's your daughter there with you, Daniela, or your mom. Welcome, Alyssa, Kelsey, Jen R., Amanda, Kathy. Who else is coming in here? Oh, I like have a nice little knot. Welcome, Kathleen. So again, we'll spend about 5 minutes just kind of going back and forth from our hands. You can also come up the forearm a little bit if you want. We do want to kind of be gentle around the inner wrist. You have a radial nerve that runs through here. And if you apply too much pressure, you might feel that. So do be gentle around kind of the inner wrist. A little bit higher up on the top of the arm, or the inside of the arm is fine, but just right down around the wrist. We want to be a little careful around the radial nerve. So we did kind of do arms last week, but you can always come up your arm a bit today. Welcome, Alyssa. Did I say that? I think I did. Welcome, Anne-Marie. Maybe just paying a little extra attention to where you feel, the most. And we can go back and forth. So I'm noticing a lot more tension right here in my right hand. But this is like super awesome because you can do this when you're at work, especially if you're on the computer. You come up and down your fingers. And then if you can stick around for release and restore, we'll be doing some hand stretches, wrist stretches. I don't really have face stretches. We'll do some feet stretches. So if you are just coming in, we have started with our hands. You could be using a ball. I like to do just kind of a mash and roll. So apply one hand to the top of the other. And for me, it's really right around the base of that thumb. And that's probably pretty typical. Or I could use my finger. Or I could use a pencil or a marker. And kind of give the hands a once over, but then spend the extra time in the areas where you feel the tightness, you feel those sensations. I'll stick with our hands maybe another minute. We'll spend a few minutes on our face, and then of course the majority of our time on our feet, because that's probably where we need it the most. Welcome, Dar. So I do see some of you here that are signed up for Mindful Moments. We do officially kind of get rolling out tomorrow. So if you did miss signups, we'll get you in. Just tag Steph or I. And if you just go straight to the website and try to register, it'll let you. It won't say you're too late. we can officially kick that off tomorrow. Officially kick off Yango tomorrow. I saw that Rochelle sent out the game board if you signed up for Yango. So print that. I need to print mine. It's kind of hard to believe it's already February. All right. So if you're loving your hands, feel free to stick with them. Otherwise, we'll come up to our face a bit. You can set however you want. But we have some options for our face. I'll scoot up a little closer. Again, you can use your hands. You can use the balls, right? Or you could use, if you have like the gua sha tools. But the main thing that we want to think about is always starting in the middle and moving out, because that's the way we kind of guide the lymphatic drainage. Now you can pause in certain areas. I like to really pause around my temples and then down around the ears. So lots and lots of drainage. Those sinuses come in and drain right down here around the ears. So not only are we getting a nice massage with the myofascial tissue, if you have some sinus issues, any type of head cold stuff, it's going to help with that too, help to move some of that out. And you can just work, you know, your pacing. We'll spend about 5 minutes on our face, but you just want to, you don't have to start top to bottom necessarily and come wherever, but come center and out. We don't want to push in. We want to pull out and down. It feels kind of silly, and if you look at yourself in the mirror, you might look kind of silly, right? You can open your jaw and get right into the mandibular joint. So many of us just in general clench our teeth, clench our jaw, and maybe not even realize that we do that. You can get TMJ, that temporomandibular, I don't know what it's called, but it's where your jaw is real tight. You get some clicking. Nice releasing in the jaw. You can come under the neck a bit as well. Again, you want to be super careful right along kind of the throat here where you can feel it. You wouldn't want to roll or push there, but you can kind of take the balls, you know, around the neck area. So we did neck a little bit last week, but if you want a little more neck, so I could use my thumbs, of course. I can just take the balls right onto the side of my neck. I do just one at a time so you can see it. I like to just kind of go cross fiber. So the muscles in the neck are mostly running down. So just cross fiber that. And you could do both sides at the same time, or if your hair is in the way like mine is, right, you could just do one side and the other. So any of that you're feeling is beneficial. I love the little gua sha tool because it's always kind of cool. It just feels nice on the skin. Hi Heather, welcome Jennifer. I think I've told you before, I keep one of these in my car. And if I ever get I don't so much anymore because now my daughter drives, and but used to, you'd always just pick her up from cheer practice at 7 p.m. and they get out at 7:15. So you can sit in the car and give myself a little gua sha of the face. Down over the temples. Helps bring the blood supply to the face as well, which is good. I like to go right along the jawbone, just lightly. I don't want to press too hard into the bone. And I do like to use the ball right into the joint of the jaw and open. You can do both at the same time or one at a time. And I just open my mouth really wide so I know I look super silly. And it'll be on video for you. But it gives you a nice massage into the jaw. Welcome, Amanda. Awesome. So we'll spend about another minute here, and then we will go into the feet, and that's where we'll spend about 10 minutes per foot. We'll do a standing portion if you choose, and then a floor portion. for a seated portion. I love it. We're all sitting here with our mouths open. I'm the only one that's being captured on video though, so y'all can log in on demand and laugh at my mouth wide open. So feel free to keep going with the hands or face if you like. Otherwise, we will move on to the feet. So we'll get about 10 minutes per foot. Option, if you have the balls, you could do this sitting in a chair or standing up. And so we'll do the standing portion first. Of course, you can stay seated. You can do 10 minutes per foot with just your hands. So you don't have to stand for the ball portion at all. But if you would like, I love to roll my foot on the ball. Feel free to hold on. So I'm using, I use the therapy balls by the Joe Miller. Those are the ones we have linked to the class. We have the blue set linked to the class. That's the middle size set. I always tell people this is the most universal because you can really use it on everything. But I do have the larger size that I sometimes use on glutes and legs. And then I do have the smaller size, which I only use for hands and feet. So don't feel like you have to have all these different sizes. That mid size is very universal. And then you could also use a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball. But I do like to tell people the same thing Joe Miller tells people is a tennis ball was designed to play tennis. A lacrosse ball was designed to play lacrosse. These balls were designed for myofascial release. So she did put, some care into designing a ball with the right consistency, the right material. And I think that middle size, it's less than 20 bucks on Amazon. And they last, they will wear out over time, but they last a good, at least a year usually, depending on how much you're using them. That's pretty, being that a massage is, 50 to 100 bucks a pop. Not too bad. Welcome, Jeannie. And so again, you could be sitting in a chair doing this. You'll probably have less pressure if you're sitting in a chair. You could be holding on. You could skip the stand and roll part and just be rubbing on your feet, which is what we'll all do in a minute. Or of course, you can stay standing and do 10 minutes on each side. We're just kind of working through the whole foot, like we did the hand, but then coming back and paying attention to the places that are more sensitive for you. So for me personally, it's kind of right on my inner arch. So then I might even just press into the ball and just rotate my foot. So what's happening, and you can even feel it, is the rubberiness of this ball is kind of gripping those few outer layers of fascia. And so then as I move the foot, right, those layers, those outer layers and inner layers are just massaging into each other, loosening up. And then as I press and roll, I can roll with the muscle fibers, getting down the fascial tissue, the plantar fascia. I can go side to side, which I don't do too much on the foot, there's not a lot of space there for side to side. So I tend to more just kind of push and mesh a little bit. Massaging just the feet will loosen up the rest of your body. It's kind of amazing when you do the retest. I don't do them in here because we only have 30 minutes. I want to make use of you getting the roll. But you can do this whole like shoulder stretch thing at the beginning. Roll your feet, do the shoulder stretch again, and you have this extra range of motion in the shoulders, even though they're not what you rolled, all from rolling the feet because everything's so intertwined. Stick on this foot just a few, like 30 more seconds or so. Of course, pace yourself. You're always welcome to roll any part of your body. Maybe you came in tonight and you were hoping we'd do glutes, and I don't have glutes planned, but you can always roll your glutes. If you have any questions whatsoever, just chat me in the box. You can even unmute yourself, but I am recording, so if you unmute yourself, you will be on video. Just like to let people know that. And what I always like to do is I do like to stand on the 2 feet after I've massaged one, because even in that 4 or 5 minutes, I can really feel the difference. So I want to give that other foot attention as well. So some options here. We're going to do 5 minutes on each foot rolling, and then 5 minutes on the floor with some hand massaging, kind of like the barefoot massage. Or you can spend 10 minutes standing. You could spend the whole 10 minutes on the floor. You could roll other parts of your body as well. So again, kind of rolling with the grain of the muscle. And then you can roll that little bit of side to side, which is not a big range. And then the pin and twist. And just working your way all over the foot with specific attention to the tighter areas. And I'll spend a few minutes on the second foot. Remembering the body, the entire body is interconnected. So my back has been really kind of a little painful the last day or two. So I've been rolling my back, but it's amazing how much rolling my feet, my back's kind of going, ooh, all that interconnectedness. So if you haven't heard me tell the story, so if you have a sweater, right, a knitted sweater, and you mess with one little corner of that knitted sweater, like it messes up the whole sweater. Your body's the same. It's all that one piece of yarn, or it could be multiple pieces, but all interconnected. Just a few rules of thumb if you happen to be a little bit new, right? We don't want anything that feels super painful, especially any sharp type pain. There will be sensations, right? Just like when you get a massage, a little bit of, ooh, it hurts so good, right? So just listen to your body, judge the pressure. If the sensation feels like, something good is coming out of it, then that's okay. If you feel any type of sharp pain, or if it just feels too much where it makes it difficult to breathe, or you find yourself clenching your teeth, move to a little bit different area, or maybe instead of standing, maybe you sit. Maybe instead of using the balls, you just use your hands. You can also use a gua sha tool on your foot, which I'll show you in a moment. Otherwise, we'll stay here for about another minute. If one foot seems like it needs more attention than the other, spend more time on that foot. You can also do kind of the pinning area, just kind of sticking in one area. Pin and hold. 20, 30, 60 seconds. Maybe a little release, pin and hold again. Perfect. All right, so if this just seems to be doing the trick tonight, feel free to stay and continue. You can go back to your first foot, a little alternating back and forth. Or if you want a little change up, oh, that felt so good. You can come down to the ground. We can use our hands, so choosing a foot. What I like about using the hands is I can massage into the toes more, right? I don't get much in the toes. And I can get more onto the top of the foot and get in between the toes. But you can also continue to massage the foot with your thumbs or maybe your knuckles, or if you've got the gua sha tool. And anytime you can apply a little oil, that is really, really good, because it's going to help either the fingers. You don't really have to with the balls, but it'll help the fingers or the gua sha tool kind of travel across the foot. And then I like the gua sha tool in the fingers as well, because they can kind of come up the side of the foot and get some of these layers back here around the ankle that, you know, there's not a lot of tissue right there. It's pretty thin, so I don't want to push too hard, and it's just kind of awkward. I mean, you can use the ball, but it gets a little awkward. But I could bring the ball underneath and do some rolling here, or I can use my hands and the gua sha tool. And so we'll spend about another 5 minutes per foot, and this will take us to the end of our time. So if your feet feel great, remember you can go up to your calves. You could be massaging your calves. That's where we'll start next week. You could massage your glutes, your back. I could massage my back every single day. So it's not, you know, feel free. I like to flex my feet a little bit to expose the plantar fascia, but if that's too intense, you definitely don't have to do that. The toes, a nice little massage. So if you ever like looked into reflexology, right, all the pressure points in our feet correspond to places in our body, and our toes are kind of the sinuses. So if you're massaging your toes, and we massaged our face, we're doing some really good stuff for sinuses, head colds, things like that. But have you noticed, and I know you can't answer me. So because most of us are wearing masks, right? If we go anywhere, like if you notice that you haven't gotten like the typical colds that we get every year, and like, I feel like I've had a little cold by now, and I haven't. And I think it's because not only are those masks helping prevent COVID, they're keeping us from getting just the typical colds. I thought about that the other day. I was like, oh, wow, I haven't really had a cold at all this year. Doesn't do much against our lovely cedar allergies here in Texas, though. that darn stuff finds a way through that mask. It gets in your eyes. I'm just like wrap my whole head. Kind of in between your metatarsals. I like to take the thumb. Work right between those long bones. I'll spend about another minute on this. But the other thing I really like to do with my foot is kind of hold the heel steady and get a little twisting motion, because that moves all that fascia between like the thicker bones and the base of your foot, or kind of in the middle of the foot. This helps limber up the foot. And then if you can stick around for release and restore, we'll definitely get some stretching of our foot. But sometimes that little twisting will be a little pop in there. Don't force anything. We never want to force our body to pop. But sometimes I just got a little natural pop in there, a little self-adjustment. Nice. And then we'll just start to make our way to the other foot. Oh, Daniela, I love it. I love it. Can I share that comment? I think it was to everybody. So Daniela just posted. She goes, "I gotta run and get the balls." Her 3-year-old threw the balls out the window. Yes, dogs and young children love when we bring out the massage balls. Who is it? Heather. She's not here. She's like, yeah, I can usually find one of the balls. I can never seem to find two. The kids take them. I have to keep mine up because our dog will take them, and he just shreds everything. So if you've not switched feet, feel free, go ahead. Same thing. You could roll it some more. Use your hands, getting around the toes, or the gua sha tool, or even like your knuckles. Many of you done versions of the feet. So if you love the feet, we've got our barefoot classes. I know Rochelle does it in the barefoot conditioning, and I think the bar on Friday. I think Maria may do it in one of her classes. So there's 2 to 3 times a week that you have that option to pop into the first 10 minutes of a class and get a nice foot massage. Or just check out the recording in VFit. And then I am recording today, and it'll stay up there for a while, but we don't do feet every week. But don't be afraid to experiment a little bit. Just use your good judgment, right? If it's making you breathe heavy, if it's making you feel angry, if it's making you be like, why did somebody tell me I should do this? Right, then it's probably a little bit too intense. That doesn't mean stop altogether. It means lighten the pressure, change the form, maybe move to a little bit different area. So if right here is too intense, maybe I move a little over, a little above, a little below, because everything is connected. And know there will be some sensation. But there should be kind of an underlying good feel to it. So we have just about 4 minutes left, a little bit less, I think. So again, if there's any other area that you want to massage tonight, you can use this time. And then if you can stay for a little or all of yin, we'll get the hands. Do a little bit of the neck. We'll get a little bit of neck stretching. There's not really any, I mean, there is like face yoga, but I find that the actual massaging of the face is more beneficial. And then we will stretch around the feet, the ankles. And then we'll probably have time to do just some general stretches also. So you will see the skin reddening a bit, right? But if you're finding that you're bruising yourself like over and over and over again, then you're putting too much pressure. We're not trying to bruise ourselves. Although I know if you go into like certain times, like somebody that specializes in rolfing, which is a type of deep tissue massage, or we have here what they call the Rosti doctors. They do some pretty deep tissue. There will sometimes be bruising, but they're supposedly experts, right? They're highly trained in the field. We shouldn't bruise ourselves a lot excessively. Welcome, Molly. So welcome if you're starting to come in for yin. We're just finishing up with release and restore. So feel free to jump in. We're massaging our feet, our toes. Again, you can do your little twisting. This is my tight side. Like no range of motion in this side. So if you've ever sprained your ankle or broken your foot, you get that scar tissue that builds up in there. And that scar tissue isn't very mobile. That's one of the reasons we do this massaging and manipulating to help loosen up the scar tissue. And also our bodies try really hard to kind of keep themselves in balance. So they will break down and cleanse out, but it will also sometimes add on. So it's very common for dancers, gymnasts, people that really use their feet to actually get like an extra bone growth because it's not necessarily a good thing, but they're using their feet so much, the foot's like, oh, I have to lay down more bone, more growth. And that's kind of the same concept with a bone spur. It's not really bone, it's cartilage, but it's our body's way of trying to repair, trying to fix. And so I've known my girls were gymnasts and then now cheerleaders, but they both have had friends that have had to have like bone removal in their foot because their body has built extra bone that doesn't necessarily need to be there. All right, we have just about 30 seconds officially left, so feel free to kind of keep rolling or get some water, and we'll slowly make our transition. I'm gonna stop the recording.